Alfred Hitchcock. The name itself is a brand, a promise of suspense, tension, and a journey into the darker corners of the human psyche. He was crowned the Master of Suspense, a title he earned and cultivated with meticulous, almost sadistic, precision. But what if that very title, the one that defined his entire career, is the first and greatest misdirection of them all? We think of suspense as the fear of what's to come, the bomb under the table that we know is there, but the characters do not. Yet, Hitchcock's true genius, the dark magic that makes his films immortal, isn't just in making us wait for the explosion. It's in convincing us we're watching one story, only to detonate a completely different bomb we never even knew was planted. He wasn't just a director, he was a psychological architect, building narrative structures designed to collapse on the viewer at the precise moment of maximum impact. His plot twists aren't just clever reveals, they are seismic events that shatter the foundation of the reality he has so carefully constructed, forcing us to question everything we've seen, everything we've felt, and even our own judgment as an audience. Before we delve into the first of these cinematic masterstrokes, if you appreciate deep dives into the art of filmmaking and the minds behind them, do us a favor and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that like button. It truly helps us continue to unravel these celluloid mysteries for you. Now, let's step into the parlor of the master himself. Our first stop is perhaps the most audacious act of narrative sabotage in mainstream cinema history. The year is 1960. The film is Psycho. To understand the sheer audacity of this twist, you have to place yourself in the mindset of the audience at the time. They came to see a thriller starring the A-list actress Janet Leigh. The film spends its entire first act meticulously building a world around her character, Marion Crane. We are made privy to her every thought, her every sin. We watch her in a sordid lunchtime affair, we feel her frustration with her dead-end life, and we are right there with her when she makes the fateful, impulsive decision to steal $40,000 from her employer. We become her accomplice. The film's entire machinery is geared towards us investing in Marion's journey. We follow her on the road, feeling her paranoia with every glimpse of a police car in the rearview mirror. We are trapped in the car with her, sharing her guilt and her desperate hope for a new beginning. The film is, for all intents and purposes, about Marion Crane and the stolen money. This is the contract Hitchcock makes with his audience. Then, exhausted and rain-soaked, she pulls into the desolate Bates Motel. Here, we meet the proprietor, a twitchy, boyish, and strangely sympathetic Norman Bates. He is lonely, dominated by an unseen but ever-present mother. The famous parlor scene, where Marion and Norman share a meager meal surrounded by taxidermied birds, is a masterclass in misdirection. We listen to Norman's tragic philosophy, we're all in our private traps, and we assume he's speaking metaphorically, perhaps even identifying with Marion's own self-made trap of theft and escape. We, the audience, feel a pang of sympathy for this tormented young man. Our focus remains squarely on Marion. Will she return the money? Will she get caught? The tension is built around her moral crossroads. And then, she makes a decision. She will go back, face the consequences, and set things right. It is a moment of redemption. She tears up her calculations, flushes them down the toilet, and steps into the shower to wash away her sins, both literally and figuratively. And it is here, at the 48-minute mark, that Alfred Hitchcock violates every rule of conventional storytelling. The shadowy figure, the raised knife, the shrieking violins, it's iconic. But the true horror isn't just the violence. It's the complete and utter demolition of the narrative. Marion Crane, our protagonist, our anchor, the entire reason we are watching the film, is brutally, unceremoniously, and permanently dispatched. The camera lingers, almost cruelly, on the life draining from her eye, on the blood and the stolen money circling the drain. The story we thought we were watching is over. Dead. Washed away. This is where the real twist begins, the one that happens not on the screen, but inside the viewer's mind. Hitchcock has just ripped the protagonist out of the story. The audience is left in a state of cinematic vertigo, unmoored and desperate for a new anchor. And who is left to cling to? Only one person, the seemingly kind, stammering, and deeply troubled Norman Bates. We watch him discover the horrific scene. We watch his panic, his fear of his mother's crime. And we watch him meticulously clean up the murder. He mops the floor, puts Marion's body in the trunk of her own car, and sinks it into the murky swamp behind the motel. In this single, extended, wordless sequence, Hitchcock performs an unthinkable act of psychological transference. He forces the audience, who just minutes ago were accomplices to Marion's theft, to now become accomplices to the cover-up of her murder. Our point of view, our allegiance, has been forcibly shifted from the victim to the man cleaning up the evidence. We are now aligned with Norman. We are implicitly rooting for him to succeed, to not get caught. This is the true, diabolical genius of Psycho's first twist. It's not just that the main character dies. It's that Hitchcock uses her death as a weapon to hijack our loyalties and make us complicit in the horror that is yet to unfold, a horror we don't even understand is centered on the very character we now find ourselves tethered to. He hasn't just killed his star, he has fundamentally rewired the audience's brain. But Hitchcock's psychological surgery on the audience was far from over. Having successfully grafted our point of view onto Norman, he then spends the entire second act building the true antagonist of the film, a character we never properly see. Mrs. Bates. She is a phantom, a specter constructed entirely from overheard arguments, a fleeting silhouette in a window, and Norman's terrified, subservient descriptions. She is a monster of pure suggestion. Hitchcock understands a fundamental truth of horror: the monster we imagine is always infinitely more terrifying than the one we can see. He doesn't show us a frail old woman, he allows us to build her in our own minds, painting her with our deepest fears of maternal domination and decrepit rage. The narrative is no longer about stolen money, it's about a new set of protagonists, Marion's sister Lila and her boyfriend Sam, trying to solve a mystery that we, the audience, feel we are already one step ahead of. We watch them, almost from a position of superiority. We know what they don't: Norman isn't the killer, he's just a weak-willed boy covering for his maniacal, homicidal mother who is locked away in that gothic house on the hill. Every scene is meticulously crafted to reinforce this lie. The tension ratchets up when the private detective, Arbogast, arrives. He is sharp, professional, and he doesn't buy Norman's stammering act. He represents logic and order intruding upon the chaos of the Bates motel. When he decides to go into the house to question Mrs. Bates directly, we are filled with a specific kind of dread. We are screaming at the screen, not because we don't know what will happen, but because we are absolutely certain we do. The high-angle shot of the attack, showing a figure that is clearly not Norman lunging with the knife, is the ultimate confirmation of our theory. Hitchcock shows us just enough to cement our false conclusion. He has taken our hand, led us down a dark path, and confirmed our every suspicion, making us confident in our assessment of the situation. He isn't just telling a story, he's conducting a psychological experiment, and the audience is his unwitting subject. It's an incredible feat of character building through absence. Which other unseen characters in film have felt this real and threatening to you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This is the critical setup for the second, and far more devastating, plot twist. The entire third act is built upon the scaffolding of this lie. Lila Crane, now driven to find the truth herself, decides to enter the house. The suspense is almost unbearable, precisely because we are waiting for a confrontation with the old woman. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow on the wall, signals her imminent, violent appearance. Our journey culminates in the fruit cellar, the dark heart of the house. We see the back of a chair, a figure sitting silently. This is it. The moment of confrontation. Lila reaches out, touches the shoulder, and the chair swivels around. The reveal is not of a living, breathing monster, but of its polar opposite, a desiccated, mummified corpse with hollow eye sockets. A thing that has been dead for years. In that single, terrifying moment, the entire narrative reality that Hitchcock has spent an hour building does not just twist, it evaporates. It shatters into dust. Mrs. Bates is not the killer. Mrs. Bates is not even alive. The foundation of our understanding is gone, and we are plunged into a free-fall of cognitive dissonance. If she didn't do it, then who? And as that question hangs in the air, the true killer appears. Norman. In a dress, a cheap wig, brandishing a knife and screaming in his mother's voice. The twist isn't just that Norman is the killer. The twist is that Norman is mother. He has absorbed her, creating a violent, jealous personality to escape his own guilt over matricide. Every clue was there. The taxidermy, he wasn't just stuffing birds. His line in the parlor, "A boy's best friend is his mother." We thought it was a statement of devotion, it was a confession of psychological fusion. Hitchcock didn't just pull the rug out from under us, he revealed that we were never standing on a rug at all, but on a trapdoor poised above an abyss. He made us complicit with a victim, then an accomplice to a cover-up, all while we thought we were sympathizing with a tormented young man, when in fact, we were in the palm of the monster's hand the entire time. The genius lies in the layering of deception, a one-two punch that leaves the audience questioning not just the film, but their own ability to perceive the truth. This manipulation of audience allegiance is a signature, but what happens when the deception is not about guilt, but about grief? Let's travel to the fog-shrouded streets of San Francisco in the 1958 masterpiece, Vertigo. Here, Hitchcock presents us with a ghost story, a tale of doomed romance and obsession. We are placed squarely in the shoes of John, Scotty, Ferguson, a detective crippled by vertigo and haunted by his failure to save a woman named Madeline Elster, with whom he has fallen deeply in love. We watch her tragic, enigmatic dance with death, seemingly possessed by a long-dead ancestor, culminating in her leap from a Mission Bell tower. Scotty's vertigo prevents him from following, and he is left broken, institutionalized, a man hollowed out by loss and guilt. The first half of the film is a perfect, tragic narrative. The story appears to be over. But then, Scotty is released, a ghost himself, wandering the city searching for echoes of his lost love. And he finds one. A shop girl named Judy Barton, who bears an uncanny resemblance to his dead Madeline. The second half of the film becomes a deeply uncomfortable Pygmalion story. We watch, squirming, as Scotty's obsession drives him to strip away Judy's identity, forcing her to change her hair, her clothes, her very being, to resurrect the ghost he lost. Our sympathy is entirely with Judy, she is the victim of this man's deranged grief. And just as we are firmly cemented in this new narrative, Hitchcock detonates the film. He breaks away from Scotty and gives us a flashback from Judy's point of view. In this single sequence, we learn the devastating truth: Judy is Madeline. She was never possessed, never suicidal. She was an actress, hired by Madeline's husband to play the part in an elaborate murder plot. The real Madeline was thrown from the tower, her death made to look like a suicide that Scotty would be the perfect, unreliable witness for. The twist here is not a shock of violence, but a shock of emotion. It doesn't happen at the end of the film, it happens in the middle, and its purpose is to create an almost unbearable level of suspense. The question is no longer, will he turn her into Madeline, but, will he find out she was Madeline all along? We are now privy to a secret that the protagonist is not, and every subsequent scene is drenched in dramatic irony and dread. We are no longer watching a man's obsession with a ghost, we are watching a murderer's desperate gamble for love, and we are forced to watch her walk toward an inevitable, tragic discovery. Hitchcock transforms a gothic romance into a devastating psychological thriller by weaponizing information, giving it to the audience to make us complicit not in a crime, but in a heartbreaking secret. From the tragedy of identity, we move to a twist that is defined by its complete absence of explanation. In 1963's The Birds, Hitchcock builds a world that slowly, inexplicably, unravels. The film begins as a light, breezy romantic comedy. A sophisticated socialite, Melanie Daniels, playfully pursues a handsome lawyer, Mitch Brenner, to the sleepy coastal town of Bodega Bay. The tension is romantic, the stakes are personal. Then, a single gull attacks Melanie. It's dismissed as a freak occurrence. But soon, the attacks escalate. A child's birthday party is swarmed. Crows descend upon a schoolhouse. The attacks become more organized, more vicious, more intelligent. The entire structure of the film is a slow, methodical ratcheting of tension, as the characters, and the audience, desperately search for a reason. Is it environmental? Is it apocalyptic? Is it something Melanie brought with her? The film offers up these possibilities only to dismiss them. In a famous scene in the town's diner, the characters debate the cause, mirroring the audience's own search for logic. They want a pattern, a motive, a solution. The twist of the birds is that there is no twist. There is no explanation. The film ends not with a resolution, but with a fragile, terrifying truce. As our heroes drive away, they see a world that no longer belongs to them. The birds are everywhere, perched, silent, watching. The horror is not in the attack, but in the silence that follows. The twist is the complete denial of narrative satisfaction. Hitchcock understood that the greatest fear is the fear of the unknown, and he crafted a film where the central mystery is never solved, leaving the audience with the chilling realization that chaos has no reason, and humanity's sense of order is a fragile illusion. Finally, we have the twist that reveals the very foundation of the plot to be a lie. In North by Northwest, we follow the suave advertising executive Roger Thornhill, who, through a case of mistaken identity, is plunged into a world of spies and assassins who believe he is a government agent named George Kaplan. The entire film is a thrilling chase, with Thornhill desperately trying to find the real Kaplan to clear his name, all while being hunted by sinister forces. Kaplan is the film's central mystery, the engine of the entire plot. He is a man who stays in the finest hotels, makes mysterious phone calls, and is always one step ahead. He is the key to everything. The major turning point comes when Thornhill is finally brought in by the American intelligence agency, led by a man known only as the Professor. It is here, in a cold, bureaucratic airport hangar, that the twist is delivered. The Professor calmly explains that there is no George Kaplan. He never existed. He is a phantom, a decoy, a complete fabrication created by the agency to draw the enemy's attention away from their real agent. In this moment, Thornhill, and the audience, realizes the terrifying truth. He has been chasing a ghost, while being hunted as a ghost. The very thing he was searching for to save himself was nothing more than thin air. This twist doesn't just change the direction of the story, it vaporizes the premise we've been following for over an hour. It leaves Thornhill utterly and completely alone, a non-existent man in a world of real danger. Hitchcock doesn't just pull the rug out, he reveals the entire floor was an illusion. From killing his protagonist, to revealing a ghost was a pawn, to denying us any explanation at all, to revealing the hero was a fiction, Hitchcock's true mastery was not in suspense, but in narrative demolition. He built intricate worlds on foundations he knew were faulty, just so he could feel the pleasure of watching them collapse, taking the audience down with them. These seismic shifts in storytelling are why we still study and revere his work today. If you want to explore more of the dark magic behind cinematic masterpieces, prove you're not just a phantom by making sure you are subscribed to the channel, and give this video a like so you never miss another deep dive into the minds of the masters.